Eagle Pipe Mechanical, speaking on women in the trades. Lori is a powerhouse leader, mentor, and an amazing friend and Lady Titan. She is a leader of Service Nations Women's Group, a board member of Women in HVACR, and a valuable contributor to Titans. Lori, let's chat about women's trade groups and the impact we can have when we lean in together. So, you want to give us just a little bit of an introduction about how you got started and just a little bit about you?
All right. Thank you so much, Sarah. This is an honor. Like, they're one of my most favorite groups. In fact, I was so honored. And when this whole organization started, I said, I have to be a part of it. And I will tell you, I am by no means a Service Titan expert, but I think I'm more of an expert with Titans. So that's kind of what we're gonna talk about today. I've had a very unique journey to get into the trades, and you kind of reflect back on what I've done in my lifetime. I was with McDonald's. I was a McDonald's franchisee for many years. So, started at the right at the front counter, worked my way on up to all the different management positions. And finally, after being in the corporate world for many years, I decided I wanted to become a franchisee. And so that's what I did. And I will tell you, I loved McDonald's, and I will contribute so much of my training and development to whether it was my corporate life with McDonald's or the things that I had to learn becoming a franchisee. So I think about, I started at, minimum wage way back in, like 1976. And next thing I know, I have created a $10 million company with McDonald's. And it was through, of course, a lot of hard work and all the things that you hear about what's required to create and build a company. So about 2011, I decided, it's time for me to move on. I loved McDonald's. I love the fast pace. I love the people, but it was time for me to think about getting back to the West Coast because I was doing some work in New York. And my home is really right outside of Seattle, Washington. I sold my $10 million company. I went ahead and retired, spent about a year and a half traveling the world, and said, oh my gosh, I need to get back to work. Instead of really spending my time, I guess I should have meditated over what I want to do with life. That is not my style. I jumped right in. Next thing I know, I'm buying Pandora jewelry stores. Not the little ones that you have in some of the larger jewelry stores. I went for the full thing. I went after what they call the concept stores. I did that for about 5 to 7 years and had a couple locations in 2 different states. And I will say it was not one of my best business moves ever. It cost me a lot of money. Decided after having all my capital tied up in beautiful baubles and jewelry, I wasn't making any money. I ended up closing 2 of them down, one in 2015, one in 2019. And I had started Eagle Pipe and Mechanical, or our DBA is Eagle Pipe Heating and Air, because a lot of people don't understand mechanical. It's like, okay, what is it you do? We're like, we do HVAC, we do residential, commercial, anything that has to do on, fireplace, propane, and we also do a lot of commercial gas piping. In fact, this year we have a lot of large contracts coming our way, so super excited. So that puts me in the position to really grow my company. I mean, we're up about 54% last year, and it's not like a parallel line or our line is moving up. I mean, we're just shooting straight up, and that's kind of how we're attacking this. But I just wanted to that's kind of my history, but I wanted to talk to you about the time I have spent mentoring women. It didn't matter if I was in women in the trades. I started out mentoring women 40 some years ago. And you think back and you're like, okay, I was a McDonald's manager and I was mentoring my shift managers. Then I became a owner operator. Now I'm mentoring my managers. And then as a franchisee that was extremely active in organizations, I became the vice president of, it's called WON, it's the Women's Operator Network. Now all of a sudden we're mentoring and we're working with female owner operators from across the country. And some of them were, 100% women owned, and others were, they were in partnership with their husband. That was a huge role that we kind of took on, because there are often times that women, they, whether it's a crisis, if the husband passes away and now all of a sudden they have to pick up that business and run it, they just can't go and take over that franchise. They have to be approved. They have to go through a training and development program, could be up to a couple years. And if they had been more working in the office or not active in the business, it was a huge change for them. And that's where we would come in. We would go in and we would work with women that, whether it was a troublesome situation, if a fairly new owner operator walked into their business and they were either not making payroll or they were having problems, that's kind of where our group came in. And so I see that same thing in the trades. And one of the things that I really appreciated, and this is with women in HVACR, my first conference with them, I walked into this room of women, and by now you can probably tell I'm not shy by any means, but it's still a little bit of a like, oh, I don't know a soul here. And, there's 150 some people. And I will tell you that immediately I felt welcomed, and there was a couple folks who are very prominent in the trades, reached out to me, and it was like Crystal Williams, who now has Lemon Seed Marketing. It was Colleen. It was Nicole from Service Nation Alliance. I remember walking past their table and they said, well, who are you and what is your story? And instantly there was that connection. And so from then on out, I was like, I felt a part of a group. And I think that is so important. I look at Lady Titans, I look at women in HVACR, and I've been privileged to mentor our advisory board 80 for Service Nation Alliance. These three groups have so much in common. And it is such a pleasure to know women from all the different trades, all the different groups, and be able to work together on, whether it's a project, it's something that we can do. For example, Sarah threw out about Habitat for Humanity. And I'm thinking, oh, this is awesome. I'm on the board for Habitat for Humanity. I'm going to throw in the dates that I'm going to be doing Women's Build in my community. And that's where women really kind of lift each other up and they learn from each other. I think what my goal, or what I try to do on a regular basis, is not only raise women up, train and develop, mentor them. And most of my business that I have learned, I call it it's kind of the school of hard knocks. It's tax attorney, the business attorney, the insurance, the accountant, the CPA. And so when you're paying anywhere from $350 to $600 an hour, you learn very, very quickly how to run your business. And so with my varied business background, I tend to kind of gravitate towards women who want to learn more about business, get much more involved in business. I think I have a lot to share with them. So it's kind of a matter of, it's like reaching out. One of the things that makes me excited to work with all these groups and women in the trades is the fact that we can give them so many opportunities. And I'll give you an example. I had a member of our advisory board 80 group call me last week. She made my whole week. She wanted to thank me for exposing her on a webinar and a call that we had done with our advisory board group. We had noticed she was extremely capable and confident, and she had done really well with different type of boards to track, like technicians and plumbers, and working with their KPIs. And we said, oh, that's such phenomenal information. And so she went ahead and she shared that with us. We had her come on, spend an hour. And I think what it did, it just gave her a ton of confidence. So she presented to our group. After the group, there was some questions. There were people that were contacting her. And I think it just totally lifted her up. She had all the talent, she had all the ability, but she just never had the exposure. So it even gets better because then she had gone to a class and someone from Service Nation Alliance had reached out to her and said, you did such a phenomenal job at this advisory board group. Will you speak to our advisory board? Well, that just lifted her to the next level because now she felt comfortable and confident she could go to another. The whole time she's telling me this, I'm like, yay, that is so exciting. She goes, oh, but it gets better. I'm like, well, how can it get better than this? Then she was actually asked to do some coaching. And so I said, that's as good as it gets. When someone can recognize you for your abilities and your talent, and they want you to coach other people. She's on cloud nine. We're thrilled for her. And I look back and I thought, that was so easy for us to do. But now we've given her an entire opportunity to, she can really take it anywhere, but she has to know her value. And I think as women, we always think we'll work, we'll do it. Well, guess what? You get into a coaching role, you need to also be paid for it too. So there's that mentorship that we want to give back, that people can call me, and I love to give back, but there's also someone in her position where it can financially really help her in that coaching role.
That
I
is
just
so
think
cool.
that, yeah, I know. It's like, it made my day. And it was something that was very small that we could do. But I think that's what these groups are all about. Women in HVACR, Lady Titans, you just had a phenomenal call today. I'm taking notes. I'm learning. We learn from each other. And I think that's what this group is all about. It's just so thrilled to be a part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. How did you learn about the women in the trades groups? I think that's really, I was in the office for, 4.5 years, and I was a member of Women in HVACR, but I never felt like I had time to really dive into it. And I wanted to so bad. So I join in on the Zoom calls. I attend the conferences. It wasn't until I really took ownership of my own journey with the Women in Trades group to understand that these people are amazing, right?
Yeah.
Like, they surround you with just love and light, and they push you to the next level. That's what I really have to say about the Women in the Trades groups. It's like, it is opportunity beyond opportunity to give back and to help others and to grow yourself, but not only grow yourself, but grow your company, because you're there that you can ask any question that you want. And I just think that's so cool. But from an employee perspective, I didn't know that there were groups out there like this. And so how did you find them? How did you find your people?
So it's interesting because I look at my history. I would move across country by myself and open up an entire business. I was fortunate. McDonald's is a great franchisee or franchise, and being a franchisee. So there was corporate help, but still it takes some confidence to like pack yourself up, sell everything you have, move across to the other side from the West Coast to the East Coast. So I learned very early on, I needed to get myself out there, not only to promote my businesses. I moved into Buffalo, New York, and everybody's response is like, why would you leave Seattle for Buffalo? And I'm like, hey, opportunity. I'm here about opportunity. And I think it's almost it's an attitude adjustment. So it's like, I am here, I am going to do the best that I can. I'm going to grow my company, and I am going to make friends. So doing a lot of research, whether you're joining your community groups or Chamber of Commerce. I'm huge with Ronald McDonald Houses. That's always been one of my charity of choices. So, I would help out the Ronald McDonald House. Next thing I know, I'm on the board. Next thing I know, I'm on the executive board. And when I did leave Buffalo, New York, they were like, can you still be on the board? And I'm like, I can't commit to flying from Seattle to New York 1 month for a board meeting, because you have to go all in. You can't just say, yes, I will do that. If you're going to commit, you have to commit all the way. So it was opportunities like that. When I found Women in the Trades, I was searching. So I am one that I will always look for opportunities. So the minute Kate on the call earlier said, your business should be involved in the Spark Business Awards, I wrote that down. So I'm going to be like, I'm going to pursue that. And if I don't have, all the time to track it down, then I'm going to have somebody in my company do it. So whenever I hear of an opportunity, I like to research it. And that's what happened. I said, oh my gosh, here's women in the trades. It's women in HVACR. I joined. Next thing I know, there's a conference. I went to a conference. And so, it was the same thing when LadyTitans came about. I'm like, wow, this sounds great. I look at ServiceTitan. I don't work in ServiceTitan every day, but I'm like, I don't care. This is a group of powerful women and I'm joining this group. And I'll be at Pantheon. I'm like, I am going because I need to up my game on ServiceTitan a little bit. It's those type of opportunities. You're always looking for opportunities to improve not only yourself, but in my case, I have employees. I like to take any of the folks that surround my organization and I like to make them better and improve their lives. Every year we do our annual business planning. We have a full day plan and we always ask them to fill out a piece of paper that says, this is my wish list. One's for business and one's for personal. And we want to see what we can do to accomplish those. So it might be as simple as, I would like to work from home on Fridays. Done. We can make that happen. I know that by the end of our meeting this year, there were a few things on the list we could say, done, done. That's going to improve their lives, whether it's in our business or in their personal life. So it's paying attention. It's looking for opportunities. And I want to kind of circle back. Like I said, when you sign up for something, you have to be all in. You can't just sign up. This year, I'm very overloaded. Like I really took on a lot more.
Yeah.
like I should have. So I'm like, okay, I'm on Habitat for Humanity. I'm Women in HVACR. I'm on the Builders Association. And I didn't realize that one of my groups hardly takes any time. Another group takes an enormous amount of time. So I have to rework my schedule because once I signed up, I committed to it. And the other thing to keep in mind is once you join things like this, there's an expectation. Not only do you participate, whether it's personally, financially, however you need to participate, you also need to lift the people up around you, whether it's women or men,
Right.
but then always think they're looking at you to be filling those leadership roles. So I was like, oh no, I signed up. Next thing I know, they'll want you to be at the next level. So be careful what you ask for, but if you do commit, you do have to go all in.
Yeah. And I think like even just taking a personal commitment to yourself to say, I'm going to give myself time. Say you're a member of LadyTitans or Women in the gift that I'm going to give myself this year is time to network and present for even an hour if it takes that. I'm giving myself an hour. I'm allowing myself permission. And sometimes you have to say these things to yourself because we do overwhelm our schedules, right? And we're like, okay, I just bit off way more than I can chew. And, but at the same time, you align it to your purpose, which is giving back always. But you can also feel emotionally drained when you have all of these tasks that are associated all of a sudden to your new schedule. So, definitely for me, it's like, I'm allowing myself permission to lead and take ownership of my time. And what I want to do with my time is give back. And this is how I'm going to do it. And this is the appropriate amount of time that I can dive into this. And if I don't have the appropriate amount of time, then I need to delegate task because I'm never on a sinking ship alone. And that's what I always remind myself, these women trade groups, like Lori, I reach out to you all the time and I'm like, I just need human advice. And you're right there for me all of the time. And that is the best thing that I've ever had in my entire life is like surrounding myself with strong people. And it's not just women, it's men that support me. It's everyone that I've met. They're just my biggest cheerleaders, and I love being theirs. And I think that's the best thing that I've learned is that I'm not alone, and I have this powerful group anywhere I go that leads me. And I just love it. I honestly, I can't, from where my life was to where it is today, it's like I wake up smiling even on those hard days where I can't find the light. Because I remember I'm like, oh, I'm not alone. Like I can reach out to Lori, I can reach out to Crystal, I can reach out to anybody. And they're like, yeah, Sarah, like, okay, let's just put it back into perspective, like one step at a time. And I've never had that in my life. So for me, I would just say for anyone that's out there looking for women in the trades group to do it, take ownership, take leadership of your own life, and give yourself a gift of others. Because when you lean in with each other, it's like you have no limit. The sky is beyond, like there's beyond that limit, and it's full of infinite possibilities. And surround yourself with people that make you feel that way. It excites me. And you're doing mentorship with women in HVACR. That is something that they offer. How is that going with you?
It's kind of interesting because I am actually getting a new mentee. The person that I was matched with, I think had a lot to do with, I took a look at this individual and I said, she really doesn't need my mentorship. She's already surrounded with a lot of powerful women. And at any point she could reach out to me, but I was actually trying to go through more of a program and a structure. So they're reassigning me someone now, and I'm looking forward to that. But the whole purpose of that program is to have someone that you can not only talk to about what you're going through, but kind of give you advice and lead you in different directions. What I like about it is there's a lot of structure to it. So when they match, you fill out an application, they accept you as the mentor or the mentee. And then what they do is they try to match you up. And I was willing, my original mentee was in Florida. So I'm like, hey, if you had to be work at 7, I'll get up at 4 and I'll talk with you then. I'm more than happy to make that commitment because we're all in a time crunch. Everybody's working and you're trying to improve, your jobs, your lives, and everything else. I also like there's some specific forms and paperwork that can be filled out. So it's not just like, hey, how was your week? It's very specific in terms of them accomplishing their goals and things that they need. And I would get a list and it would say, these are the things that I would like to learn. I look at some of the strengths that I can give to women if they want to start their own business, a lot of things with business and a lot of things just life in general, because we all get to a certain point in our lives, we've been around it. Like, believe me, nothing surprises me. There's probably nothing you can tell me that will like shock me that I haven't seen it, heard of it, or been there myself. So I think that just adds value because it's like those lifelong lessons. So that program is amazing. If you join Women in HVACR, they have a great need for more mentors. So I might end up with 2. We'll see. We'll see the time commitment and some of the folks. We're kind of in that process now. I do know with my advisory board group, there is a lot of ladies, and I always say, hey, reach out, text me, call me. They have a phenomenal system where they can throw out an email, hey, looking for forms, looking for this, looking for that, to help them. And they usually get 3 or 4 responses. And then what I try to do is at least once a month, we have a mastermind call. And if someone hasn't had their question answered, perfect format to do it in. And then we can talk about it. And it could be anything. It could be about one of their employees. It could be about a new product, financing on their furnaces, whatever it is. I think we can tackle it. Again, these are strong women. And when you think about every woman's career, I don't care what position you've been in, the strongest folks that run companies, they're your back office. And they are the women that, and they're generally women, they're the ones that have president, the board, they have their ear because they're the ones that are taking care of them, doing their schedules. I learned that a long time ago when I worked for corporate. Our general manager, he was, I would say, pretty standoffish. He was a good guy, very professional, a little bit standoffish. And I would always hear through his personal assistant decisions that he was making in the betterment for my career. Like he wouldn't tell me, but she would tell me, and she'd be like, hey, now's a really good time. And, you know, those type of things. But I think back with some of the women that are in like the offices and in all these different roles, those are the ones that they make these companies run. It's like if we leave it up to the owners, forget it. And I say that in all sincerity because I'm an owner myself. So don't leave that stuff up to me because I'm either going to be too busy, or I'm not going to be very good at it. If I want something done at such a higher level, I get my office manager because she will be the person to get it done for me.
Yeah, you are blessed. You have Alicia, and she is amazing. And like, yeah, you're completely blessed. And that's right. You know, we do take ownership of a lot of the back end and make the business run. And you know, it's just part of life. We're also out in the field. We're also as sales representatives, you know, everyone has a different skill set, and that's just the most amazing thing about people. It's that, you know, you just go for whatever you can and help however you can, but really let yourself shine. And I think that's what I would give any advice to anybody, but especially women. Let yourself shine. You deserve it. You know, you deserve to be heard. You deserve to be known, and you deserve to be seen. And, you know, stand up and take ownership of that for yourself, and continue to learn and be a part of these groups, and surround yourself just with great people, because that's how you'll get anywhere in life, is just being around people that love you and support you. And no matter if you're a mentor or if you're just chiming in on a call, you know, you're there, and those people will just take care of you. Women in HVACR, I love it so much. It's not just that they have mentorships, they have scholarships, right?
Yes.
And so,
And yeah, we have scholarships. There's a couple things. So kind of what goes along with the mentorship, they also have an ambassador program. And it is a phenomenal program where they try to have like an ambassador in every state or, you know, part of the country. And they have some great tools. Like on Saturday, for my Chamber of Commerce and my Builders Association, I kind of did an HVAC 101, and I was really speaking to college guidance counselors and high school. We didn't quite have the turnout that we anticipated, but I didn't let that stop me. I went through the whole presentation, and I will tell you on the back end, I went back and I said, okay, the next time some of these guys get into this Builders Association, they start complaining why they don't have people, I'm going to say, well, you weren't on that call where we could have explained to you how you could get more staff. So it was an opportunity to present HVAC women and our scholarship program. So scholarships, they're due June 1st. This is a program where they can apply. I think they've already received about 7 applications. There's quite a bit of funding, could be anywhere from 2,000 or higher. What I love about it is if they have been accepted for a scholarship, then we have already built into our budget the cost to fly them to the Women in HVACR conference, which is in Phoenix this year. It's great because not only do they get money for their either trade school or college, their education, but the other thing is then they get to meet all these powerful women. They are so accepted. The sponsors give them amazing prizes. Like I'm looking at some of these tool bags going, that's incredible. This year at the AHR conference, one of the ladies that had won the scholarship in Boston, I think it's going on year 3, came back, and she was back to our booth and she was talking, and we keep up with her on Facebook and Instagram, and we see how well she's progressing in her career. A lot of it was based upon, I'm sure she applied, and she's a little bit older for going into this. This is not a 19-year-old. I think she's going to be close to 50. So for her at that age to step out and become an HVAC technician that gets up on rooftops, does commercial, and she's just going for it. And you can just see how she's excelling. And she was part of winning one of those scholarships. So those are out there. Women in HVACR, they also do like calls on Fridays. And we just had a gentleman from government relations with ACA speak about all the different scholarships that are out there. So there's government scholarships. There's so many ways to get women in the trades. I just hired a phenomenal warehouse gal. She's 19 years old. Her name is Emily. I have her out gas piping today with one of my guys because I want her to understand, because I don't want to keep her in the warehouse. I think her possibilities are unlimited. So she applied for the warehouse position. We're moving into a new warehouse. We're like, great, let's get her trained on equipment. Now I see her, I'm like, this girl can go anywhere, like anywhere. And I think she will have so much more opportunity to get into the trades and make a lot more money by learning these different skill sets. So, that's all exciting.
Yeah, I think that's great. And, everyone is kind of in this funk of, the winter blues and things like that. And the culture sometimes dies down in businesses during this time because we're busy planning for this year, right? It's important to remember that your people are an investment. They aren't an expense, right? An expense can be written off. An investment is something that can be allocated for years to come. And when you invest in someone's personal growth, oh my gosh, like these people just want to stay. And not only that, they feel like they are a part of something bigger. So kudos to you and realizing the potential in people. And I think that's what you do the best. Is when I met you, it's like you just see people and it's such a heightened way. I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with us today on the importance of mentorship, on the importance of leaning in together. And, to recap it, it's, ladies and gentlemen, there are groups out there that support your professional and your personal goals. Research, learn, always be a lifelong student, invest in yourself and invest in others. And remember that you're never alone. You are here. We are here for you to reach out, make friends, get scholarships, continue investing in yourself, continue to surround yourself with people that will lift you up. I just, can't say enough great things about all of the women trade groups. And we are hoping to partner with more so that we can get the word out there to support and empower women in the trades to be their best selves, to learn and to lean in together. So thank you again, Lori, for everything. I really, really just appreciate you taking the time to speak with me.
You're welcome. My pleasure, Sarah. Thank you so much.